Now it's time for today's guest. Michael Schulson is a celebrity chef and restaurateur whose imagination and vision have made him one of Philadelphia's most successful hospitality professionals. As the founder of the Schulson Collective, he's the force behind a portfolio of restaurants in Philadelphia, Atlantic City, and South Florida. Here to tell us more is Michael Schulson.
How you doing?
Hi.
How you doing? Good. How are you?
Welcome.
How's it going?
Welcome. Good.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining
Happy Friday.
us.
Wow, this is Happy Friday for sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Love it.
Enjoy it.
Drink up.
That's very
Yeah, I
good.
love
Drinking?
those pants.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's a shot, right?
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
I keep waiting
Okay.
for me for a second. You'll be like, I love restaurants.
So,
Oh, because we're in restaurants, you think that we could do that as a shot,
Yeah,
right?
I believe so.
I always
I
see
believe
the
in
chefs
you.
taking shots out of the little Tupperware when they're done cooking.
We do. We drink out of the deli cups.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to have glass in the kitchen, which is kind of a nice thing because you could fill it up more and you could drink some more.
Yeah. So tell us about your background and what got you interested in cooking.
So I actually went to school for architectural engineering. I grew up here in New York, and one day I went home. My parents are teachers, and said, "Listen, I'm not into this anymore. Like, school's not for me, education's not for me." And they looked at me and they said, back in the day when they had the bulletin boards, there was no like, Craigslist or anything like that. And I said, "I'm out." And they said, "You need to go get a job." And I went back to school. On the bulletin board, there was a job making pizza. I guess it was the biggest ad probably. And I pulled that down, and kind of the rest was history.
And was this the pizza place in Long Island?
It was.
Okay.
It was.
Yes.
Pizza place in Long Island called Pazzo Pizza, and now 14 restaurants later and 1,000 employees. I'm kind of making a little bit of pizza.
Yeah. So what role did the Borgata play in your culinary journey?
So I was here in New York. I opened up Budokan, and the Borgata came, and I never went to Atlantic City as a New York person, and they said, "Why don't you come here? We want to build you a restaurant."
Budokan, iconic.
Yeah,
Just have to
pretty
say.
big. And I looked at them, I said, "Atlantic City is just not for me." And it was my first experience where they said, "All right, we're going to pick you up on a weekend, and we'll get you in a limo, and we'll bring you down." I was like, "All right, this could be fun." So I get in a limo, I go down and check out the Borgata, and there's Bobby Flay there, Wolfgang Puck, Michael Simon, Jeffrey Zakarian, and Michael Mina. And I was like, "Wow, you're going to build me a restaurant like these guys?" And they were like, "Yeah, we're going to do that for you." And I kind of said yes.
Wow.
And they put me up in this big suite, and it was kind of crazy. I was like, "Wow, this could be a good life."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. That sounds incredible.
It was fun.
I run the
It was fun.
Borgata. Yeah.
A poor kid from Long Island, I was like, "Wow,
Right.
this could be the life."
And as we mentioned, you have a plethora of restaurants: Atlantic City, Philadelphia, South Florida.
Yeah.
Let's start with Giuseppe and Sons in Philadelphia. So,
Yeah.
what was the inspiration behind that? And yeah, like tell us about that restaurant.
So my wife is Italian, and she's very into Italian food. Obviously, she grew up with it, and Philadelphia kind of has their own kind of Italian.
Yeah.
It's like South Philly Italian food, and it was just something I always wanted to do. We were like, "Look, we could do this. Let's do a chicken parm, veal parm, the basic stuff." Because everyone wants to. I mean, if you think about it, you go out for Italian food. How many times do you go out for Italian food where it's like really soulful, without being organic and fresh seasonal vegetables? It's just like gravy red sauce.
Right.
So that's what we wanted to do.
That I love that. That's
too.
I'm half Italian. That's like that's my favorite things to eat.
Yeah.
But also the mocktail at the Diplomat Beach Resort is your take on modern Japanese food. So I love that you really have, I mean, like a plethora of type of restaurants.
Yeah.
So tell us what made you want to go into Japanese.
So that was kind of my first thing, Asian food, and I lived in Japan for 8 months. So I got into that very heavily over there. I worked at the Four Seasons. And down in Florida, that's kind of a really popular cuisine, especially on the heels. I did Budokan, and then we got into this sushi thing. And it just got voted best restaurant in America by USA Today. So that was pretty cool.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And your newest restaurant is Alpen Rose, and it's a steakhouse reimagined. So what was the inspiration behind that, and what kind of vibe were you going for?
So my grandfather, who had a place in, he came over from Russia, Poland. And when he first came here, he opened up a butcher shop in the Bronx. And when I was a kid growing up, that's kind of where I used to hang out and butcher meats with him and do kind of the whole 9 yards with him. And it was just a joy. So this kind of was like, we wanted to pay tribute to my my grandfather here. It's a 45-seat, 11-table, really small, really boutique restaurant. So it's been really exciting, this one, because it really hits home.
I love that.
I mean, we do a lot of things for business purposes. So it was really nice to do something that was like, okay, this has a real soul, real substance, real passion behind it.
I love that. And you said that you believe the experience is the most important part of dining, even over food.
Yeah.
So could you expand on that?
So here I am, a chef, okay? There's 3 things to a restaurant, okay? Design, service, and food, okay? So everyone think about this. You walk into a restaurant, the design is spectacular. Oh my God, it's amazing. This is crazy how good it is. Look at this, I gotta bring my friends back here to see it. The service is good. You're like, wow, the service is pretty good. And the food is pretty good, good enough, okay? Are you bringing your friends back to see the place?
Probably.
Probably, I am. Like, oh my God, you gotta see this place. If you walk into a place and it's like, oh my God, it's disgusting, it's dirty, it's run down, the service is awful, and the food is really good, are you going back?
No,
You're not going back.
not me.
Okay, so that's kind of how we balance it. And look, food is really important. We're saying there's only 3 elements in a restaurant that are important. But to me, I think design is the first thing you see. I mean, you think about all of us, we're sitting here, we all dress a certain way, we're giving an appearance, it's a perception when we walk by people, and people are judging us the second they see us. And that's kind of what a restaurant is. They're judging us based on what they see first, and then we just need to get better as we move through the process.
Absolutely. Now, in addition to being a successful restaurateur, you also have a passion for small businesses and investing in them. Where did that come from?
You know, it's really weird. My parents look at me and they're like, who are you? I mean, here I am, a kid who dropped out of school, went to school to cook food, and now it's just like I love the business aspect of it. I love to meet people. I mean, that's the biggest thing that we say. So my wife and I, we invest in a lot of businesses. We actually just saw one that somebody sent me the book, that coconut place on the corner. Like somebody sent me the deck on that of like, are you interested in doing this? And to me, it's like, we invest in people. We definitely don't invest in the business. I think people are successful, businesses can be successful some 50% of the time. It's either gonna work or not. But the person we're investing in. So we did a healthcare company, which has been great. It's really doing well. We did a shoe company out of here in New York, Margot Shoes. I don't know if anyone's heard of them. 2 brilliant ladies went to Harvard School, and we met them and we're like, wow, these girls are sharp. And we were like, look, we're in. We're all in. And I mean, we never wore the shoes. My wife didn't buy a pair of the shoes. We're just like, these people are special.
Wow.
And then the latest investment that we just put in, it's called a company called Ownable. And the concept is you go online, if you can't afford something, you rent it. Like, okay, I want a new TV today. It's gonna be like $12 a month. You get the TV, it's sent to you, you pay $12 a month for X amount of months, and then after 6 months, you're like, hey, I wanna buy this. I want it. You could buy it and have it. So you're not spending the money up front. You're not it's not a huge purchase. You could have it in the house, and if you don't want it at the end of the renting terms, you just send it back, and we take it, and it's done.
Wow. Well, let me start a company so I can get something.
Let's go. Go. What are we doing?
So before you go, we know your expertise is based in Philly, but do you have any NYC restaurant recommendations for us?
NYC restaurant recommendations. That's tough. So my favorite restaurant that I try and hit almost every time I'm here is this place called Yakitori Toto.
Oh my gosh, I love that place.
Isn't that place amazing?
It's so good, the skewers.
Total
57th
Dive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on, what is it, 58th and Broadway or something?
Yeah.
So it's a dive, second floor, skewers, really simple food, but delicious. I mean, we're all about kind of like the dive place.
Yeah.
There's a place in Chinatown I love, Wo Hop, which is in the basement. Great soup, really simple. I'm not a fancy guy.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Michael. It's
Thanks
been a
for having me.
You can learn more about the Schulson Collective's portfolio of restaurants by visiting www.michaelschulson.com.